Good evening, everyone. Welcome to All About Arsenal. And of course, today we're going to have a deep dive into game week 3 in the Premier League. At the time of this event, right now, Crystal Palace is playing Aston Villa. And we're still going to talk about that. But as expected, we're going to take a very deep dive into the other games that have been played. So I have my panelists with me right now. We have Sam the Guru, the great Sam the Guru. How are you doing, bro?
Yeah, hello? Can anybody hear me now?
Yeah, Uche, we
I
can hear
can
you.
barely hear
Someday,
you.
are you guys good? Our sound check, okay?
No, not really. I can't really hear you. Hold on.
Oh, okay. So we have Someday here. We also have Odafe, who is making his debut in the channel. Welcome, Odafe. Good to have you. How are you doing, bro? Oh, we lost Odafe right now. I think we have some network glitches. So, Uche, can you hear us as well? There's some
Okay,
connection.
okay, I can hear now.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thanks for having you. Okay, so as always, we'll just go through our agenda. A typical way we go about this, we'll start with the Arsenal match review, where we'll talk about what Arsenal did in this game week. Then we're going to take a quick dive at our title rivals, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, see how they played as well. And of course, he's been the Premier League. We're going to look at other Premier League fixtures where we check about all the other games and just discuss about them. And we're going to talk about our surprise of the week, the game that kind of shocked us, give us a surprise. And of course, the panelists we also have their say in that. We're going to also look at the injury watch, see how the players have had different injuries in the course of this game week and see how the severity of those injuries are going to be. Then we'll look at the players of this week, the guys that have been outstanding. We take a quick dive at the table just to see where we are at the time of this recording. And of course, we'll go to the next steps, which is after the international break for game week 4. So, Sam Deguru, thanks for making your debut on this channel this evening. How are you doing, bro?
Well, I'm good. I'm good. I got the invite late, but I said, okay, let's do this.
I really appreciate you for coming through, bro. I really appreciate. We have a couple of panelists that are supposed to join us, but I'm guessing they're having maybe some network glitches. We have Odafe, we have MC Moore, and Doria as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's look into the first one. Okay, so we'll start with Arsenal's game. Whoop, whoop. Okay, of course, we have folks in the chat. Las Bello, welcome to have you. Thanks for Salisu, who's also here. And he says hello, Mbuemo. Oh, of course. For those that don't know, I'm actually in Mbuemo. Do I look like Mbuemo? I think I do, right? Oh my God,
Like
Kelechi is
them.
also here. Yeah. So Kelechi is also here, of course, saying all these guys I'm talking about, let us not drown. I think I need some humor right now, man. Thanks, Last Bello. Let's smash the like button and subscribe. So let's go to the first game of the game we'll talk about, which is Liverpool 1, Arsenal 0. This was a painful one. Watching this game, Arsenal seemed to have some measure of control in the game, especially in the first half. But there were some moments in transition when we would have expected the guys to do better, but they messed up. During that chance, they Martinelli carried with the ball for a while when Gyökeres was on the free. But before I talk any much more, let me hear from you, Sunday Guru. What was your take on this game?
Well, I think the game went exactly as I expected, because I have seen so many of this kind of games when Ateta set up to play these tough teams, especially away from home. I think in past years they mostly play to avoid defeat, but I don't know, but I think I saw something a bit different tonight. I think Arsenal tried to win that game, but it's Anfield. If you cannot win, you just try to avoid defeat. You are playing the champions away from home. Anfield is always a very, very difficult place to go. Even during their trenches days, it was always very, very tough. So, I
Yeah.
was looking at that game like I'm just looking at one of the champions coming May next year. That was how I saw the game.
Yeah,
Look at how
I
you
agree
lost.
with you. And yeah, and then
Pretty
again, okay,
long
go ahead.
range.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I said, look at the quality of the goal. It wasn't just like
Oh,
they
yes,
tore
of
the
course.
defense apart or something. It was just a goal that would beat any goalkeeper.
Oh, yes,
So
it was
it's just one of those
amazing.
games.
It was amazing, actually, when you think about it. But when you think of the fact that the last time Arsenal won in Anfield was as far back as 2012, that was when Santi Cazorla and I think Lucas Podolski scored. He wore the purple outfit that day. Hodafe, what was your take on the game as a Liverpool fan? I'm sure you must be very happy with the victory.
Hmm. What I will say is that this particular game, we were there for the taking. And this is the difference between stepping up from being a runner up to being a champion. Today, if it was Man City will come out at us. Now, the reason why I feel that today you could have gotten us was this is the first game that McAllister and Gavenbeck are playing together. So, like since Tottenham, when we won against Tottenham, so I was a little bit nervous. Now there's an injury. You have an injury to Odegaard. You have an injury to Saka. This is
Saka.
just what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to yes, Saka. I was expecting I was expecting that okay, Ateta, you know that Liverpool's defense is not solid. Take risk. This is what I say about Ateta. I've been watching him now close to 5 years plus now. He wants to eat his cake, but he still wants to have it.
Hmm.
Now, our first game and our second game, the reason why we were so open was because Newcastle and Bournemouth decided they are going to take risk. Now, taking the risk also means that you are likely to be open. If it is Man City that came today, Man City beats us today 90% out of 100% because they will go at us knowing that we are not set. Now, coming at us also requires that you will leave space at the back. Ateka don't like it. He does not want to do that. The problem with coming to our ground is that we can play badly for 45 minutes, but we will never play badly for the whole 90 minutes. And that is where the moment we settled, we started going at them. It took more than 15 minutes for us to settle into our game. And from that moment, I knew that we were either going to score or we were going to get close to scoring. The goal was, how will I put it, was an exceptional goal. It's a set piece goal. But even before that, we were already threatening.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hodafe. That's a very good breakdown, and I'm sure as the game progressed, it was clear that Liverpool actually started getting their feet on the pedal once again. Okay, Uche, I'll ask this question to you. Why do you think Iberici Eze didn't start the game?
It's essentially
Um,
because of, okay.
Okay, Hodafe, I'll come back to you. Let's hear Uche's thoughts real quick first. Go ahead, Uche.
Okay.
like doing an analysis of what had transpired, the manager is the only person who can answer that question. He's been charged with deploying resources, which I feel are enough from the investments made. That's the angle I'm coming from. The manager had the resources to do that. He chose not to for reasons best known to him. And not only that, I feel that he wasted a lot of time to bring in
Changes.
that particular investment. That
Yeah.
was needed, but he didn't do that. So, for whatever reason, the thing is that given the investment that we made in this brand, over the last couple of weeks, a lot of questions will have to be answered by the manager.
I agree
At
with you.
least, at least until the results of all those investments start showing up on the charts.
Okay, that's fine. So, Sandeguru, Noni
Yeah, bro.
Madueke had a very good game, in my opinion. He was really, fighting hard with Milos Kerkez, and he had a
Mhm.
couple of, chances. Does it come off to you as an ideal backup for Saka, or do you think he should fight on the left-hand side with Martinelli?
Well, I think Madueke is there for both sides. For example, if Saka was fit today, surely Saka is playing 90 minutes. You understand? I think it's just an option. If Saka was fit, maybe you wouldn't really
Hello?
know Ateta's plan yet because
Yeah, Doye, we
you
can hear you.
need to
Welcome.
see.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sandeguru.
Okay, I think you need to see everyone fit before you know what the plan really is. You understand? Sometimes when these managers sign players, we as fans, we try to analyze, we try to give what we think, like what we think is likely to happen. But on the other hand, sometimes it is not always like that. If you look at today's game, if Saka was fit, Saka surely starts. Now the
Mm-hmm.
question is Martinelli or maybe Madueke or Eze. You understand? So you cannot really be sure until you see when everyone is fit and they are playing these difficult games. Now, Saka being injured makes it just easy for Madueke to play there. That is where he has played his most minutes in a Chelsea shirt. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't really understand why people are saying maybe I don't see anything wrong in the selection today due to the
Okay.
availability of what is open to Ateta. I think everything was quite okay. I think the game was okay. I think Madueke even did well. You understand? Once again, remember you are playing Liverpool at Anfield. And before I forget, I think Odafe was talking about City, like if it was City win today. Please, are you talking City or City of maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, or which City are you talking about? It cannot be this City because if you even look at City at their best, how many wins do we have at Anfield? You understand? So I think you are just I think you are overrating City. Maybe you are talking about this current City or you are talking about the 4 in a row City. It's not this City. This City don't win at Anfield today. So that's just what
Okay.
I
No,
want to say about that.
So
okay,
thank
let
you
me
so much,
respond.
Sandeguru.
Let me respond to that.
Okay, Odafe, just 1 second before we hear from your response. I want to be sure that Doye is in. Doye, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Oh, yes, we can hear you very well. So there are a couple
Okay.
of comments in the chat that were saying from Kelechi, and I would like you to talk on them. Then when you are done, Odafe, you can respond to Sam Deguru. So Kelechi says that Arteta should have made changes at halftime. It was sad to watch. Merino lasted too long. So and said he had no business in the second half. So in the game where Gravenberg and Florian Wirtz and McAllister ran the midfield, did you think Merino's performance was so terrible that he needed to have been yanked away at halftime?
Personally, I don't. I actually felt like Arsenal had Liverpool where they wanted in the first half. Liverpool couldn't really play through the Arsenal midfield. Florian Wirtz was not very good in the first half. Gravenberg did some good things
Yeah.
defensively, but offensively, Liverpool didn't do a lot offensively to say that the Arsenal midfield was struggling. I believe that Arsenal wanted to keep the game tight, keep it tight, nick one from a set piece or something. Again, in games like this, if this match had ended 0-0, nobody like the reactions would be very, very different. The
Yeah,
goal that Zoboslai scored, the XG was 0.03. It's like capturing a genie in a bottle. So
I agree.
you
I
don't
agree.
just use that
As a
singular
yardstick, yeah.
incident to now say that okay, this is a reflection of the whole game.
Exactly.
If you take away that incident and you look at the whole game, it was towards I think when from like close to the 70th minute when Florian Wirtz started getting into the game, started getting the balls, you understand, and he drifted left a bit. That's when Liverpool started to play better. But before then, Arsenal actually had the game under control. Salah didn't play well. Ekitike didn't play well. Gakpo didn't play well. Florian Wirtz didn't play well. So this is Liverpool's front four. The four of them, none of them was even having what you call like an average game. They were all below par. So I felt like the tactics of Arteta, it worked really well. Madueke had some great chances with the game stretch where he and Kekes. In another world, the shot deflects off Kekes, it goes in or something. Then now you now start hailing the performance. So what I don't like to do is I don't like to
So
judge a
I
game
don't know
by
what I.
the score. I'll look at the whole game. You may play well,
Exactly.
you may not play well, but look at the
Mm.
whole game. The game was very
Yeah.
balanced, and if you're being fair, it should have ended as a goalless draw. Neither attack did a lot, and if the game ended as a goalless draw, everybody will be singing Ateta's praises. That look, he did well. He's gone to Anfield. When you look at the start of the season, you've gone away to Anfield. You went away to Old Trafford. You played the home game against it. If you took 7 points from those games, everybody will be happy. So it's just like a
Yeah.
special goal that is causing what I believe is more or less like an overreaction. That's just my opinion.
And funny enough, the comment in the chat from Akin Aduroja, thanks for being in the chat. Akin says exactly his point. Ateta would have been praised for a masterclass if the game ended in a draw. So, Daphne, let me ask this question to you. How well did Ibrahima Konate and Van Dijk handle Gyökeres? And would you be happy to see Konate finally leave for free this summer, next summer?
that that question. Now, I'm confident in Konate and Van Dijk whenever they face a striker of a build of Victor Corres, because you know exactly what he's going to do. You know how he's going to do it. You know exactly two or three of his moves before even he knows what he wants to do. The people
Mm-hmm.
that Van Dijk and Konate struggle against are the Jacksons, are the Nunes, are the Isak, are the Ekitike that is in our team. The people that you cannot, they can decide this is how they want to play today. They can decide this is how they want to play the order. But against Victor Yokores, I was always calm about it. But I was a little bit because Martinelli has one kind of weird record against us that he can be playing six for 10 games, 11 games, then he comes to our game, then he plays the ball. I was particularly calm about Gyökeres not even seeing or smelling any chances at all. So I was not even listening. But
Oh,
in regards to Konate leaving, I would love him to stay, but if we get adequate this in him, if we get adequate replacement, like if Gay comes in and if Gomez goes by January, if another person comes in, if he wants to stay, he's okay to stay because me personally, I want him to be the one that leads the attack after Van Dijk goes. But if he does not want to stay, if he wants to go to Madrid and go and defend the Trent, he can go to Madrid and go and defend the Trent. But I believe that he's going to he's going to play his best football in Liverpool. Now, the reason why I'm not going to be as angry at him as I was with Trent was Trent felt like it, your baby personally because he came from the academy. We saw him into the first team, but if Konate leaves, I wish him good luck, but not Trent. So,
okay.
so that
Okay.
one
So
is
thank you so much, Hadafi. So before we leave the Arsenal game, I just have one more comment for you, Uche. We lost Kai Havertz to a surgery on his knee prior to the new campaign. Saka suffered a hamstring injury. Odegaard also suffered an injury. Ben White wasn't fit. Christian Nogard is out. Trossard just came back from an injury. Then 2 minutes into the game, we lose William Saliba. What can Arsenal do differently from these injuries to stop happening, Uche?
The most they can do is to find a way to shuffle the resources in a way that there's not enough physical pressure on them. But if you look at it, it's just 3 games into the season, right? there shouldn't be this much injuries. Although a lot of them are short term. I think the only major concern there is Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. The rest of them, we expect them back before the international break. Looking across other teams in the league, Chelsea, they have their injury crisis. They had to call back Jackson for his low move. Look at Liverpool, Suzulai had to play right back for a while. So I think the injuries is not just Arsenal's problem in the
Okay.
context of how early it is in the season. But I believe that across the season, the load will be shared properly. Just like IKEDC, we'll be okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So, Sam the Guru, one last one for you. What were your thoughts on Mo Salah's performance? Did Calafiori handle him well, or do you think it was like
On who? Whose performance?
Mo Salah, Liverpool's talisman?
Okay, Salah. No, Salah was very, very quiet. He was quiet. I think he was handled. I think Salah was just very, very basic. When you play Arsenal, I've been saying this for years. Maybe sometimes people think I just I'm probably just masking it. But when you play Arsenal, they are very, very tough to break down. So I did not expect a stellar performance from Salah. You understand? But when Saliba went off injured, I felt like, oh, they could. I've not seen much of that new guy. I don't even know his name. I've not seen
Almost
much of
scary.
him.
He actually did
Yeah,
well, though.
exactly.
I did okay.
So, but he did well. He barely got a foot wrong. So, Salah was very, very quiet. He was very quiet in the
Awesome,
game too.
awesome. Okay, so enough about Arsenal for 1 minute. Let's look at our title rivals and how they performed in the Premier League. And we are going to start with Spurs versus Bournemouth. So, Dwayne, I'll go to you on this. Spurs played Man City in game week 2 and were excellent in every sense of the word. I'm sure some of the group was to be very disappointed in that game. But when Spurs took on Bournemouth, for the entirety of the game, I don't think they even had a shot on goal. Like, what was your take on Bournemouth's performance, and what do you think? What do you think went wrong for Spurs?
Okay. I think what went wrong for Spurs is just basically styles makes fights. You see, Tottenham, when you have a CDM like João Paulina, they are better suited. Tottenham, they're better suited to maybe want to sit back, absorb pressure. They did the same thing against PSG. When PSG came out, they sat back in a nice shape and everything. That's Tottenham for you. But when you play against a team like Bournemouth, you now have to come
Mm-hmm.
out. What that means is that the spaces that naturally are not there against the big teams, because the big teams have to play through tight spaces, that because you're sitting back in a low
Yeah.
block. Now you are the one that has to now find those spaces to exploit. And with midfielders like João Paulinha, Sa, and all those other
Then
guys in midfield,
Danko,
I don't feel like maybe with I don't feel like they have
Flair.
the ability to consistently, the flair to break down teams if teams sit back. Now in respect to Bournemouth, that is what they like. Semenyo is very quick, counter attack. If you when you come out, he will have more space to run into, more channels to work with. So I just like for Tottenham, that's going to be a hallmark of their season for now, unless maybe with Thomas Frank he can find a way to get them better with respect to their build-ups. If not, they will struggle against the smaller teams that can sit back and then break on them.
Thank you, sir.
So that's just what
Thank
I
you so
just feel.
much. So, Dafe, I'll ask you this question. Anthony Raola lost Kepa to Arsenal, lost Hoyson to Madrid, lost Kekes to Liverpool, lost Zabani to PSG. And yet he kept an amazing clean sheet against Tottenham away. What's your take on their new signings? Truffet, who replaced Kekes, Diakite, who replaced Zabani, and of course Petrovic, who replaced Kepa in goal.
Hmm, what I'll say is this, like whatever happens this season will show how good of a coach and Iraola actually is, because it's an entirely new it's an entirely new backline, but the principle are still the
Mhm.
same. That's why That's why against us, they played exactly the same the way that they would have played
Yeah.
if Kekes was still there, if Oshun was still there, if Zabani was still there. The same intensity, the same risk. They still took the same risk. So it shows the principle that he has embedded in the team, which then means that any new players, like when they go and scout, they know exactly what they're looking for,
Mm.
which then means that the new players don't take long to adapt. So they come in, it's almost like wearing a glove, a perfectly shaped glove. It fits in almost perfectly. So this season, it will take some rough, um, some fine tuning, but I think they will be good because even against us, I was expecting that we'll bulldoze them, but those like we'll deal with them. But after they settled, they came at us, and it was like, didn't you just lose like 4 out of 5 of your entire back line? Why are you still you like like at some point I was like, this is Game Week 1, this is first game of the season, and it was looking like we are going to lose the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, Sunday Guru, I have this.
Like,
Okay,
like
go finish your thoughts. Finish your thoughts.
so the on on this last week game, the thing that I saw is that Thomas Frank have been trying to patch things up. This their game against Bournemouth showed the need of a number 10. I'm not talking about a workaholic 10, a number 10 that can create, because it is what someone like Aneze in that Tottenham team yesterday now, or a Morgan Gibbs White in that Tottenham team yesterday now, gets them at least a draw or a win. Because in a game against Bournemouth, although Bournemouth will attack you, but they will give you the ball that try and break us down, and then they will counter you.
Okay, so that's fine. So,
But they have
okay, so just a quick one. Sunday Guru. So Semenyo started the season in a very, very funny fashion. You know, he was socially abused in the game at Anfield, and he scored 2 goals. Then the game against was it Wolves? Yes, he had a very big high XG chance that hit the ball underside of the bar. Even though he was not really influential in this Tottenham game, what are your takes on his performances? Has he basically turned into their talisman?
Well, I don't think there's any difference with the Semenyo of last season with what we've seen this season so far. Semenyo is a good player. Like it's like I think I can call him like their money. You know, when Mane Salah were in Liverpool, Salah was the flashy one, but Mane was effective as well, hard worker and all that. So I can see Semenyo as someone like their money in quotes of Bournemouth. But you know, last season it was very good. He's a good player, but he has problem with finishing. His
Yeah.
finishes are they are not very, very good. So when I saw, especially that goal he scored against Liverpool, I felt like, wow, this guy is playing like someone that is very determined. Maybe he's practicing more, but Semenyo is still Semenyo. I don't think my opinion of Semenyo now, just because he has scored maybe 2 goals and maybe 1 assist in the second game, and Semenyo of last season, I don't think it has changed. I just think he can be much better this season if he improves his finishing. So I don't think he's very different from the Semenyo we used to know. He's a good player, very good player.
Okay, thank you. So we've spoken so much about Bournemouth, but not much about Spurs. So Uche, I'll bring this question to you. Was Thomas Frank right to make Richarlison his main man and actually publicly announce it when Sri was still in the works trying to also fight for second place? Don't you think that accident would have dampened his morale?
Well, for so in at the very top level, you cannot have that mentality. Let me start from there. It's a it's a it- it's a very competitive industry. where the margins always determine the winners, which let me just digress in 30 seconds, which is why I am a little bit disagreeing with the fact that the team didn't do well today because of whatever. The margins always call the shots in the top industries, always the margin. If you cannot navigate the margin, you cannot become the best of the crop. I'm talking about in finance, in economics, in every industry you can call. That's why the top boys always fight for that margin. And I think that part of that margin to be successful is the mentality. If you're being told that somebody is ahead of you, if you back down, you have proven the manager correct.
Yeah.
If you keep fighting, an opportunity comes your way, which is what happened with the person who you're being compared with. He was also out for a while, out of commission.
Yeah, he was injured
But
for a while.
exactly, but he came back and he's contributing to the good of the entire team. So you cannot let that phase you. If that phases you, then I think you don't have the mentality to belong at the highest level.
Okay, fair enough. So let's go to the next game, and I'll start with you, Doye, on this one. There was a VAR controversy when Chelsea played Fulham. What's your honest take on that incident involving Rodrigo Muniz and Tosin?
Well, today I was actually very surprised to see that the PGMOL are issuing an apology and basically saying that the ref and the VAR official got it wrong, because I actually
Mm.
feel like they got it right. Because a
Okay.
couple of things that I look at when it comes to tackles and everything. Look, again, it's a fine margin between a foul one way and a foul the other way, on who beats who to the spot. You can see a defender now is actually going to clear the ball. A striker sees this defender is going to kick the ball. He knows the defender is going to kick the ball. What he does sometimes, he will plant his foot between the ball and the defender. The defender will kick the striker. It's a pen.
Yeah.
Simply because the striker planted his foot there before the defender kicked. If as the defender is kicking, the striker's foot comes onto the defender's foot, then it's a free kick the other way. So
Yeah.
it's basically who gets to the spot first. If the striker gets to the spot first and plants his foot, you hit him. It's a pen. So it's the same thing with this whole when you pirouette in the middle of the park. The law does not say that I should give you space to land. Like it's none of the defender's business. The defender
Mhm.
didn't even really make a challenge. He's put his foot. His foot has landed on the floor. Now the striker has now landed on top his foot. It's clear as day that look, it's a foul for because, and if you look at the sequence, as he came onto the Chelsea player's foot, the player went down. Had that player stood up, because the ball bounced around a bit, it also put Chelsea at a disadvantage. The whole bouncing around, he could have been in a position to also affect that play. He was out of commission on the floor. So for me personally, I felt like, look, it was
Mm.
then for
Oh,
them now to be doing what they're doing. And I just feel like
Doye, are you here? Okay, I think we've lost him. So before you come back, Sanjay Guru, do you have a counter argument to that? Shout out to you, to Chinedum. Do you support
Well,
his? Do you support or do you
well,
oppose?
when I saw that incident, I said something. I said when VAR ruled it out, I said that was a bit harsh. But then I saw people telling me it was a foul, it was this, it was that. So I said, okay, maybe I would check it again at halftime, maybe, from proper review. But I've noticed something with all these like all these 50-50 tricky decisions. We don't know if it is or not. Because I always look at it that even professionals sometimes they struggle to know if it is a foul or not, if it is a penalty or not, if it is this or not. Then we have four big heads in the VAR room. Sometimes they still get it wrong. So, sometimes when I just I felt like it was Ash, but then I saw people telling me that this is very, very obvious. This is a foul, and this is a foul, this is a foul. Then I felt maybe I was the wrong one. Then today, when I saw the apology, then I went back to my initial reaction that I was right. I felt this is a bit harsh. You understand? You know, all this decision making in real time, they brought VAR. Sometimes it still leads to controversies here and there. Honestly, I felt it was harsh, and that was my initial reaction to the whole thing. I felt Fulham deserved that goal, and rightly so. At least now they verified it that okay, it should have been a goal. So that's it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's kind of challenging because what's the point of all these apologies you keep issuing every time? You
It is
have
very very annoying.
the idea of VAR was to make the game better, right? You will take your time, you waste everyone's time, you review, look at all sorts of stuff, and still go up with the wrong decision. So it's kind of challenging because we watch the World Cup, we watch the Champions League, and we don't tend to see this kind of officiating decision that this baffling. It's not saying that it's just systemic somewhat to England. And for some reason, the Premier League is one of the most viewed leagues in the world. You would expect at least some level of professionalism from the officials. But that being said, let's focus on the game. João Pedro has started his Chelsea career like a house on fire, coming in from the Club World Cup, scoring all those goals, going to the new campaign. Uche, what are your thoughts on the issue that currently happened with Nicholas Jackson? It was believed that he was supposed to fly to Bayern Munich. Then, when there was an injury for Delap, he was called back. Is that a right approach for a club to take? Uche, are you with us? Okay, I think he's having
Uh,
network issues.
okay.
Can you hear us now? Okay, maybe he's having network issues. Do you want to take a stab at that?
Nah. Okay. Apologies for my network. I don't know what's happening,
No, it's all
but
good.
it's look. You know, he's a Chelsea player. At the end of the day, he has a contract with Chelsea.
Mhm.
Chelsea are going to do what is best for Chelsea. They don't. That's what most big football clubs are all about. They'll do what's best for them and everything. So I don't see any problem with Chelsea recalling him because at the end of the day, if they don't have any other out
Hello.
and out center forward, if you now say okay, you want to let him turn, it could affect the performance of your team, and then the goal league this season is going to be so competitive, whereby some drop points early on can put you in a
Yeah,
very
play a
very
role.
difficult position. It's just like
Yeah.
Man City now. They are going to Man U. They're almost looking at it like, look, if we go down, we don't get all 3 points, and Liverpool win. This is going to be like
You
is
extend the
almost eight
gap.
points. You're going to be
Yeah.
like 8 points behind Liverpool. So look, everybody is trying to at least be with just move.
Okay. Okay. I think we're kind of
People are actually.
okay.
I
So
think
okay.
his
So
network is struggling.
yeah, network is having issues, but at least we could hear him this time.
Let me switch to my phone.
Okay. So let's go to the next game. This particular to you, Sam the Guru. Brighton Soccer Punch Manchester City. The first question to you, Sunday, is this: has Manchester City lost their fear factor?
100% yes. 100%. I think most people just right now. I think you just feel like okay, you are playing City. It's just the name right now. You know, I'm always very honest when I'm talking about these things. You see, one thing I notice is okay, Man City is not like we are going to finish sixth or seventh or eighth or something something. But when you talk about Manchester City, you are talking about title winners. You are talking about Champions League contenders. You are talking about a team that wants to compete in all competitions and go as far as possible. That is the
Yeah.
Manchester City we know. But unfortunately, that is not the Manchester City we have right now. You understand? So Manchester City right now, it's like I checked the starting 11 today. I compared it with what we had in last year, even though last year starting 11 was worse, and I think it was due to injuries, but so many changes, so many new players, so many changes. So I just feel like it might take a while before we look like City again. That is if at all we are going to look like that anytime soon. But it's going to take a while, surely.
Yeah, so Chinedu is saying hi to you someday. He says he sees you.
Hello,
Doyen,
Chinedu.
let me ask you this question. Man City lost Kevin De Bruyne and they expected Phil Foden to be his heir apparent. What the hell is going on with Foden and why is he missing in action?
I have no idea what's what's going on with Foden because actually Foden is a player I actually rates a lot. Um, from last season, nobody knows what is going on with Phil Foden. Only Phil Foden knows what's because I believe that look we've seen Phil Foden play at a very very high level. If at all his level is dropping, it shouldn't drop as badly as it has dropped. So I just want to believe
Mm-hmm.
that with Foden, it may be mental. You know, it may just be a mental block because sometimes with these kind of players, when things stop going very well for them, because if you look at Foden, his issues almost started from the was it the Euros where with England he struggled all through. You know, they tried moving him left, and then he's just been struggling. So I just feel like, look, it's a mental something. And there was one thing that Man City had before. What they had before was when singular players go through poor spells, the team still wins. It now in itself hides or reduces the pressure on these players that are struggling. If you check Grealish's whole City career, you know, up until last season, they rarely called him out because Man City were still winning. They were still winning at the highest level. So for what happened to City last season, Foden's drop in form, coupled with the the whole team struggling and everything, you know, it's just been. I just believe it's a mental issue, and it's something that Manchester City have to sort out very very fast because you are calling Foden the replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, who was meant to be the replacement for David Silva actually.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin De Bruyne has not. Kevin De Bruyne in himself, maybe check is meant to be his replacement, but look, and another problem again is the City makeup. When you look at City, City was the team that they usually had cutting edge. So the people that passed, they had a lot of runners. You could people that were running from the time of Sterling and Sane,
Mm-hmm.
even Mahrez provided cutting edge. If you look at Man City today, if you look at the full 11, if you take away Haaland,
It's not
there's no other player in that Man City team that you can rely on to score the odd goal here and there.
true.
So that pressure in itself, you know, it's also added pressure because now that should be for them. So I just feel like, you know, he's struggling. The team is struggling. Pep is struggling. The recruitment, every City, they're just the mess right now. So everything is just adding, and hopefully he gets back better, but maybe not this season. Let him allow us duke it out this season and wait till next season.
Yeah, and there's a very good comment from Chinedu in the chat. He says, the Premier League waits for no one. You snooze, you get overtaken. As in, and that's a very, very shocking statement because Manchester City had been the team that really ran ragged on every other team. Even before you play them, you lose games. And even when the games are going on, there's always that potential for them to, kill you off. Imagine Klopp saying that he had run out of energy because they had chased Man City so much that he could not win anymore. So let's look at Brighton. Sam the Guru, this is a question to you. Losing João Pedro was a very, very bitter pill to swallow for the club. Do you think they've recruited well to replace him?
Jao Pedro. Who did they buy for in that position? I can't remember who they signed.
So right now they keep using Welbeck and they promoted Jorginho Ruta as the centre forward. There are a
Okay.
couple of young stars they signed, like one guy from Greece. But it seems that they just banked the entire money for João Pedro and they didn't like do something
Okay,
about it.
I think Ruta was there last season now. Ruta was there. I don't think we've seen enough with Brighton to think probably they replaced Jao Pedro properly or something. I don't think we've seen enough. I think everything is still normal. I think it is still Welbeck that is like their talisman there. So I don't think I know of any name that is taking over that Jao Pedro's responsibility. Pedro had huge role there. It was like a major player for them. He was on penalties and all that and all that. So I don't think we've seen someone else that is like taking over Maybe it's too early. Maybe I've not seen them enough, so I can't really answer that João Pedro replacement question right now.
Okay, so Chinedu has a question for you, Sandy Guru. Is it possible that Man City's 115 challenges is taking a toll?
Do we have to do that here? Really? No, there's nothing like that. I just think you see, I'm a realist. You see, nothing lasts forever. You understand, especially in football. You cannot win the league every year. You understand? You can try. You can win this year, you can win next year, you can win four in a row. No, you can't. Only City can do that. But to get to a point whereby sometimes you need to re-strategize, you need to refix things. Our major players left their hold and all this and all that. So these new players, sometimes it will take them a while to settle. I was trying to think of the past glory, because trust me, 2 years ago is the past to me. Unless we just want to troll people, that's when we talk about it now. So I was looking at the past years. I was comparing like what is really happening. I did that I think yesterday or today. So I felt like 17-18 looked like City's most prolific year in terms of attack. Like we were I still rate that 17-18 attack over the treble winning season. Then I looked at it, and I was talking to a few City fans, and they were talking about how prolific we were. They were talking about the efficiency of Sterling, Leroy Sané, and all that, and telling me that we fell off from Sterling, Sané to people like Doku, Savinho, from Mahrez to Savinho. Huge downgrade. But
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what? When
actually.
I thought about it critically, when I like looked deeply into it, I felt, did we change how we sign players? Then I remember so well, when we signed Raheem Sterling, it was no different from Doku. Raheem Sterling we bought from Liverpool. It was not like he was lighting anything on fire. It was just basic but promising, like a promising youngster. Under Pellegrini, Raheem Sterling did nothing. It was basic. Under Pep Guardiola, the first year, Raheem Sterling was basic. You understand? It was until that 17-18 season, then 18-19. That was when Sterling played very well for 3 years, and it became the Sterling of old again. Then I looked at Leroy Sané too, and I know that we did not sign Sane as a superstar. No, we didn't. Sane
No,
was
no, no.
just like a good player too. And he developed at City. I think he played his best football of his life at City. So then I compared it. I told people that it is not different from what we have done with Doku, Savinho right now. We signed young players that are promising. So it is now left to them to
Develop.
improve, to live, to develop. That's the word. You understand? So, but of course, the quality has dipped. You don't have De Bruyne. You don't. I don't want to talk about David Silva, because David Silva left City a long time ago. The
Yeah,
quality
true.
has dipped. Then so many new players. So it will take some time. To be honest, I don't think we're a bad side, but I don't think we are good enough to win the league with what I see with Arsenal and Liverpool at the moment. Before, we used to struggle to start off a season. We struggle with, sometimes we can have slow starts, but when it is December till May, we might not lose any game. We win 15 on a row. But now the clubs you are competing with would not give you that time. Those days when we win 15 on a row, we were facing Arsenal that we beat almost every game. Liverpool, that of course Liverpool were strong, but we were their daddy. You understand? But right now you cannot boss any of these teams. When last did we win against Arsenal? When last did we beat Liverpool? You understand?
True.
So things have changed. It's not like City that you can say, okay, maybe I'm reacting too early, but it is 3 games and I have lost 2 already. And I have seen this movie before. Last season we lost so many games. So it's like
Yeah.
it is just the continuation of it. So
Like
maybe
you just.
this is the new City.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. So let's look at other fixtures in the game week. And we're going to start with Manchester United versus Burnley. Doing, I want you to cook right now, man. What's your take on Mr. Amorim?
Well, after last season, honestly, I just felt like Manchester United had gone down, it's in this kind of path, before then they replaced the coach. So for me, I was more than happy for him to try to
burn it down to build it back up. You understand? You have to get the foundations right and everything. But when I watch, like, you see, there are some things that I look at when I see the idea behind squad building and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on record saying that Bruno's best position is as maybe the left
Okay.
10. So if you're going to play two, you can have Bruno and
Yeah.
somebody. That is his best position. Now, when you look at Manchester United, from the onset, okay, they've gotten Cunha, they're going from Buemo. So that tells me that from the onset, they are thinking about moving Bruno into one of the center midfield
Mm-hmm.
spots. And Bruno is not a central midfield player. I always say this: to play central midfield, you have to have incredible patience. You have to know when to go and
Yeah.
when to stay.
That, that awareness.
So what? Yeah, the awareness on what's happening around you. Bruno is the kind of player that the ball gets to him, he can play one pass and he's off. Sometimes you just take it and then just knock it around a bit and calm the game down and things like that. So when I saw the plan of obviously Manchester United and Amorim, I'm like, look, this is not going to work.
Hmm.
So he's basically boxed himself into a hole. And more telling, they'll tell you they usually say something when somebody starts thinking about retiring or about quitting. You get the person has almost halfway quit
Yeah,
already.
true, true. Mentally.
His statements have been damning. They're like coming out to say some days you're thinking about quitting, some days you're thinking about staying 20. All those things are just sending the wrong signals for your players and everything. So at this point, I just feel like Amorim has and he's going to live and die with his 3-5-2 or 3-4.
2-4-2.
How was it 3-4-3 or the way they set up. You're playing like that. You've gone and you've gotten what they call it, Dogu as your
Left wing back,
left wing
yeah.
back. That is his signing. That is his signing. Manchester United let Carreras go, to
To
Real
Real
Madrid.
Madrid, yeah.
So what stopped them? And they had a buyback clause
Yes.
for the guy. What stopped them from activating that buyback clause in
When he
January?
played Benfica.
Dogu is so when you start seeing some decisions that the guy is making, I just feel like the end is near for him, and then very soon, had they lost or drawn the Burnley game, I genuinely believe that he would have resigned by himself. Yes, because his statements are already showing that look, I'm ready. Once you're contemplating it, you might as well just get it over
Yeah, I
with.
agree. So, Uche, this question goes to you. Did Arsenal dodge a bullet with Benjamin Sheshko?
No, no, I don't think so. If you look at the situation over there, everybody is struggling. Everybody is. And look at our own situation. Our investment up top is not also lighting the fires everywhere, right? So, to be fair, if I wanted to be unbiased, I would say it's too soon to call. But if I want to be partisan, I would say he's a flop. He should get relegated and stay with Chidobe Martins on the bench.
Yeah, yeah, because my challenge is this. When we were playing Grimsby in Carabao Cup and they went into penalties, and your centre forward played the 10th penalty before Onana. Maguire played before him, Dalot played before him. And I checked his career, he has scored 11 penalties at Leipzig. So what the hell happened? That is it a confidence issue? Why wasn't even in the first five or at least in the earlier part of the sudden death? Something good. Do you want to answer that?
Well, about Sesko, you saying Arsenal dodged the bullet. I think it is too early to say that. You understand? I think the guy is okay, but I think he's still a player that has a lot to learn. You understand? So he can still come good. I still think he would do well. I think he would do well, and it's just there. I think the system, everything about Man United right now is just off. So I think Sesko would do well. It's just 3 games. He has not even played maybe I think he was on the bench in the last game because he played in the cup. It's too early to say that. It's too early.
Okay, so Doyen, this is a question for you. Does Burnley have what it takes to stay up? Yeah.
Burnley, honestly speaking, I've not really watched a lot of Burnley. I saw the game against Manchester United. I saw the game against Manchester United, and
Yeah, I
hello.
can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I saw the game against Manchester United. They played well, but it was against Manchester United.
Mm.
You using that game to judge them, I don't think it's going to be very
Mm.
very fair. But I would
So
say
is that
this
how Man U has
one
fallen?
thing. No, it's not. But that's the truth. Yeah, did you see Manchester United? There's just I don't know. There's just an issue. There's something there. But I'll say this about Burnley. The game.
Go
Can you
ahead.
hear
I
me?
can hear you. Keep speaking, bro.
Okay, yeah. So what I'll say about Burnley is, for most of all these things that come up, they do have a very good centre forward. I can't remember that their centre forward's name. The guy that also, I think he also scored the goal that they
Oscar.
cancelled. He's a handful. Yes, but he's a handful. He puts himself about and everything. So if they can do what they did, at least sustain their defending. With him up top, he will get you the odd goal here and there that can really, really help him. And then, honestly speaking, for most teams coming from relegation, they cannot believe their luck because this is one of the most open EPL seasons towards the bottom as they've been in a while. Because you're looking at teams like even though Brentford have played all right, but you're looking at Brentford, you're looking at Wolves, you're looking at West Ham, and the teams you came up with, there's a chance for almost any of them that can get their acts right as soon as possible.
Okay, thanks. So let's go to the next game. And this was between Sunderland and Brentford. Late drama. So Sam the Guru, Sunderland has been quite interesting this season. They've had some very impressive results. And from all indications, it looks like they recruited well. What's your take on them as a team? And do you think they have what it takes to sustain the Premier League? It looks like a question asked about Burnley.
Yeah, I think they can stay. I think they can stay because I think in the last few years, the teams that come from championship, the exact same teams, they go back.
They all go
You
back.
understand? Yeah, they all go back. So I think that's why most people, by default, now we are just looking at those three teams and feeling like, okay, they are going back. But I somehow feel like it's not going to be the case this time. I think they can stay up. I think they can because there are some teams that you don't really trust. Yes, I think one team that can struggle so much this season is Wolves. I think Wolves are going to struggle. So I think they can stay up, but I still
Oh.
feel like 3 games and it's too early. They are above Manchester City on the log right now, so maybe they should.
Okay, so Toye, I'll ask you about Brentford. You lost your manager in Thomas Frank to Tottenham. Christian Nogard, your captain, who had played 196 games for you, went to Arsenal. Then, of course, your talisman Mbuemo went to Manchester United. You got Django Ouattara, who was a good sign in our own line, but you're still having some drama with Wisa. What is your take on how Brentford's performances are right now? Are all these off the field issues coming into play to kind of disrupt their season, or do you think that they're going to struggle because they have lost to Nottingham Forest? Yeah. Then they managed to get a result against them Aston Villa, which was just a weak game. So right now, what's your take on Brentford and their struggles as a team?
Yeah, if you look at Brentford, for me personally, when I saw that they lost Mbuemo and Wisa, because those two guys, the fact they literally carried the team offensively. When I saw that they lost those two, I like believing that Wisa is going to go anyways. I strongly believe that they were going to have a terrible season. If the
Hmm.
coach is also not there, Nogard is not there. The defense is largely the same, but they didn't defend very well last season also.
Yeah,
So
true.
I just feel like for them, they need to keep on scraping results and keep their head above water, no matter what happens. Their new striker, I think he scored again.
Yeah, Thiago.
So they are looking decent with respect to the relegation fight because that's all they should be worried about right now. Just staying up and then rebooting from there. You get,
Hmm.
but I just feel like when I look at Brentford, they are the kind of team whereby when when they start struggling, because most of all these teams they will have patches where they struggle. You will have like your
Mhm.
6 game or 7 game. Yeah. So Brentford, when I look at Brentford, I believe that when that comes, do they? I doubt if they have the pieces to be able to weather that storm, like dig themselves out from that storm. Especially when I look at the teams around them. We can talk all we want to say about West Ham. If West Ham are going to keep Jared Bowen and Paqueta, for example, there are goals there in the team, and I just feel like if Brentford, if you never really had a very good defense, when the goals dry up, it's going to be a problem for them. So yeah, that's just how I feel about Brentford right now. I'm not very confident about Brentford.
Okay, so let's go to the next game. Wolves 2, Everton 3. Someday, Guru, your boy is cooking right now in Everton, man. So, what's your take on Grealish? Well, was he shackled in Manchester City or playing under Moyes as he liberated him?
When things like this happen, people over exaggerate a lot. Like, it is just few games. I know Jack Grealish more than anybody else. I know how frustrating it can be. Well, maybe he's molded for these smaller sites.
Like Aston
Maybe
Villa?
because when he was at Villa, he was like a star boy and he came to City. You play City. When you play in a City side, you play against low blocks, week in, week out. Even the top teams sometimes will sit back when they play City. He's not that guy. I don't miss him. I wish him the best in Everton. I want him to do well for them. But considering the fact that I paid 100 million for a guy that earns over 300 quid every
Hmm.
week, you understand? And that is what he offers me. How many assists, how many goals? You understand? Although I can make an exemption for the treble year, he did well. He did well from
Mhm.
November, December that year. And he was very, very good, fit, he played almost all games. I thank him so much, you understand? Because I still say maybe without Jack Grealish, there would be no treble. You understand? But if you are projecting, you're looking forward, you're trying to win more Premier League titles, you are trying to win your second Champions League, Grealish is not the guy to beat those teams. You
Hmm.
understand? So now he's at no bad belly, you understand? Nothing like that. He should continue to do well at Everton. At least maybe they can even pay some money for him at the end of the season. He's only there on loan. So I want him to
Yeah,
impress so that they can pay and
like an
just have him
audition, yeah.
permanently and make him theirs. I don't miss him. I don't want him to return to my club, to be honest.
Okay, so Doye, let me ask you this question. When Everton played under Sean Dyche, they just had this whole Satan ball straight up. Defend, 1-0, lock things up, Tarkowski, Brantwaite. But Moyes came in last season, did some good work, and he made some astute recruitment this summer. And Everton is a whole lot more attacking like they used to be. So, what's your take on the transition from life under Daesh, and how far do you think Moyes can take these guys to?
Um, yeah, I think Moyes also, to an extent, he sort of, let's say, benefited because, like you talked about with Sean Dyche, their problem was really, when you don't score a lot of goals, sometimes it starts to affect your defense, even though you
Mhm.
have good defenders. So they have good defenders, and Moyes worked on that. The base, they defend very, very well. They have that Iliman and Dia is a very good player. I like watching him. He has some flair to him. Jack Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and all those guys. Even Beto for last season when Liverpool played Everton, Beto gave us help. So he's done very well. But one thing with David Moyes is that he would he would make you into sort of like a respectable between like 10th to 14th kind of team. More
Mhm.
around that range, or like 8 to that. He would make you respectable. You wouldn't go into the season thinking about relegation and things like that. You'll be comfortable in the Premier League. The
Yeah.
problem with Moyes is when you start wanting more, because if you remember very well, in the 80s, Everton were one of the bigger sides in the Premier League. So
Mm-hmm.
the fans, so even though they struggled recently, when they stabilize, the fans are not going to be content with just say stabilizing. They will now start wanting more.
More.
That's where I feel like Moyes usually comes undone. He'll do a very good job initially. He'll make you respectable and everything. When the fans start wanting more, like let's take that next step, like what Eddie Howe did with Newcastle, made them respectable, and now they've taken like a step into where you are talking about the six best teams in the Premier League. You're talking about Newcastle, that kind of thing. That's where the Everton fans will want to go very soon. And I don't believe that Moyes would be able to take them there. That's where Everton now. So that's how can they be happy with being what they are currently, or when they start wanting more, he can't deliver more, then you sack him. And like West Ham are realizing, you can easily start going back towards relegation. He's done a fantastic job. I like Moyes as a manager, but like I said, he's just one of those guys that he's just going to make you respectable in the Premier League. Don't worry about relegation. So that's about it. And I doubt that's what the Everton fans want, especially with this their new stadium. And see, that fan base is very ambitious. They look at their neighbors and they know what's popping. You understand? They long for those days again. But unfortunately, I doubt Moyes is the man to really bring them into that kind of stratosphere in the Premier League.
Okay, I agree. Now let's talk about Wolves. You sell Konya and Aït-Nouri for 100 million, and you pretty much didn't do much with it. Just they retained Strand Larsen, got Arias from Fluminense. Are they looking like a team that might be relegated this season?
Is that for
Sandro.
me?
No, for
Okay.
Sandro.
Like I said earlier, some minutes ago, I said I think Wolves are going to really, really struggle. I think they will struggle, but I don't think we can boldly predict teams that would relegate after just 3 weeks. You
It's too
understand?
early.
Because we've seen situations before whereby we have a particular team bottom of the league at maybe game week 16, game week 17, and somehow they start winning, they win this, they win that, and they just fight for their lives and they finish maybe 16th. You understand? So, but it's too early, but I think they will struggle. Especially the fact that I don't know if they are still willing to sell Lassen, the same guy they signed permanently this summer. I don't know if they want to sell him to Newcastle. I don't think that is going to happen. But regardless, I just see them as a team that would struggle this season.
Okay, fair enough. I agree with you. So let's go to the next game. And this one was a ball fest at Elland Road. But before I go to the next game, Akin made a valid comment that Moyes actually qualified Everton for the Champions League, even though he flopped. I remember that season as well. So Leeds Newcastle, man, Newcastle is kind of surprising to me. They are in the Champions League right now, Doye, but it looks like they have not what they want to use, they have not recruited right. All the guys they wanted to sign, Jean Pedro, Shesko, Mbuemo, none of them wanted to come. They managed to get Votham out from Stuttgart, but with this Isaac drama going on and Wissa and Strand Larsen on that one, do you think they can actually make these signings come true before the season commences? Then you now think of the fact that Gordon has now suffered a red card, which means that Wilson Osula is the only forward they have. What do you think Newcastle can do to improve themselves this campaign before the spring closes out?
And I think they just need to get Johan Wissa. Just get one more body up front. But
Okay.
even if they don't get the body up front, see, look at all the teams in the Premier League now. Last season, Jacob Murphy was very good. On the right, they have Jacob Murphy, they have Elanga. Two very good players on the right. On the left, you have Gordon and you have Harvey Barnes. Two very good players on the left. In the middle, you signed the Walter Made.
Mhm.
And if you get in the Wissa, that is basically six bodies across your front three. That is more than enough. Last season, they're talking about replacing Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson was injured for
Yeah,
like most of last season. So
yeah,
again,
Yeah.
so when you talk about replacing him, like he was not even present. So now start talking about okay, you want to replace. So whatever they get is a plus. Now losing Isaac, if they do lose Isaac, or hopefully when they do lose Isaac, it's going to be a problem because Isaac is one of the game winners and he's a game winner in the Premier League. You know, with him,
Mhm.
you go into every game knowing that you have a chance. You want to watch and see how that Woltemade does. I think the season before last, that guy scored only 2 goals in over 30 Bundesliga appearances, something like
Yeah,
that. The last season he did well, so he's going to take some time to gel. But
yeah,
the beauty about Newcastle is this: they have their left wing forwards sorted out. They have their right wing forwards sorted out. They have their midfield sorted out. They have
mm-hmm.
their central defense sorted out. That is Theo, Botman, Bourne, and Shah.
Mhm.
Those are four
Mhm.
players that any two
They are all
will
right.
do a very good job. They have Hall, Livramento. You have what they call them, Craft and Trippier, and you have two goalkeepers. When you look at the Newcastle team, they have a very, very, very look. It's just the fact that
Absolutely.
with Isaac in the team, you're talking about like third and fourth in the Premier League, depending on how well Chelsea does. Because I believe that they're looking at that third, fourth space.
Yeah.
Newcastle are going to be a real threat for it. Without Isaac, I still believe that they should come fifth at least because the squad is very, very good. And they have a manager that is comfortable with these players. Like they didn't do a lot of wholesale changes. So I think Newcastle, lucky they're going to be very fine. They bought this guy, what they call him, Jacob Ramsey, as another
Mm-hmm.
extra bought in midfield.
And midfield.
Yeah, Newcastle should be fine. It's just the whole Isaac
Drama.
the whole Issa drama. These guys played Liverpool and they were with 10 men. They look at Liverpool were the ones that had 10 men.
Hmm.
Going to St. James's Park is not easy. No top club wants to go
Yeah,
to St.
yeah,
James's
it's a
Park.
very tough
They
ground
are
to
going to
play
be
in,
fine.
actually.
Yes,
Yeah, I agree.
Newcastle should be fine.
Okay, okay. So Sanegu, let's talk about Leeds United. You know, they have been trying so hard to come back on the championship for quite a while. I had a couple of playoff drama, but finally they've made it. Obviously, made a couple of recruits here and there. Noah Okafor, Lucas Mecha, and the rest. Have they been impressive enough in the couple of games they've played in the Premier League to you?
Mm, I think they've done all right, considering the fact that they are a newly promoted side, so it's not like we have huge expectations of them. I think they've done quite okay in the I cannot rate any team or judge any team losing 5-0 to Arsenal. You understand? You would lose when you go to
Yeah.
the Emirates. When you are just promoted, you would most likely lose. So I don't want to really look at that. But the other two games, I think, what was their first game again?
They won Everton 1-0. A late penalty
Exactly.
from
Okay,
the
Everton. Yeah, I remember now. So beat Everton, draw to
Newcastle.
Newcastle, and lost to Arsenal. It's not bad. I actually think if one team would survive, I think they are the most likely team to survive. Not even Sunderland.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next game. And this was a hammer blow for Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. No one saw this coming, actually. Nottingham
Yeah.
Forest was a team that, challenged for the Champions League last year, eventually ended up in the Conference League, they found themselves in the Europa League after some of the field drama. But West Ham has started very, very poorly. They were trashed by Sunderland. And I think their last game, they also lost to Chelsea 5-1. So that was 8 goals conceded to it. So now you come to Nottingham Forest own home and you win 3-0. Is Potter still a potential member of the sack list? Or do you think he's still going to spend more time with that club?
The pressure is still going to be there for Potter, because like it's the same thing. The West Ham fans, they are a very demanding lot. So the pressure is still going to be there for Potter. But this win does a lot for him. And I believe that gradually with time, West Ham, they are looking like they will be fine because one thing in the Premier League is that it's rare to see a team go down. When you have a player like Jared Bowen, like a
Bowen,
very good player that gives you goals, can be a threat, can be a menace, and things like that. It's very, very difficult. And when you look at the way West Ham have, they have a lot of players that have been there, done that. Paqueta is a very good player. Man City wanted him a while ago. He's confirmed that he's going to stay and everything. I just believe that West Ham, they if they pick up a couple of results here, the goal he scored today was like on the turn. There are very
mm-hmm.
few players in the Premier League that will score that goal if it falls to their preferred foot. The way he took it. So when you have a player like that can be an X factor at any given time, all you just need to do is just to try your possible best and sort out your defending. And if you do that, then you'd be fine. But like I said, the West Ham fans, it's one fan base that they they want success and they also want to be sort of like entertaining. They believe
Mm.
that they believe that it's in their DNA. Sort of, they are not content with you just coming and playing what you call the haram football and just nicking results here. And after a while, they'll start jumping on your back. So that's where I feel like he may have some issues with the unrealistic demands from the West Ham fans. They've not really. I don't like the business that they've done. Especially towards the top end of the pitch. They are still relying heavily on Bowen. You've lost Kudus. I don't think you've really,
Invested.
they could have done better. Yeah, when you look at West Ham and what they represent, what they should represent, I believe that they should be spending more money to back the manager, bring in a bit more quality. But for
Yeah.
now, the pressure, he has a couple of games. He has the international break, and at least he's bought himself close to like 3 or 4 games
Mm-hmm.
if they don't lose heavily. So gradually, slowly but steady. But I just believe that with Bowen in the team, any game that they keep tight, they can do something. They can do something.
Yeah. So Sunday, let's talk about Nottingham Forest. Season in, season out, they make so many signings, just like Chelsea. Some work, some don't. And last season, they had to rely on the old man, Chris Wood, to come up with the goods. This season, their performances have been somewhat shaky. They actually won the first game against Brentford, and I think their last game against Crystal Palace was a draw. Now they've lost
Mhm.
at home to West Ham. What do you think about Nottingham as a club? Do you think, and of course, I also heard that Espirito Santo is having challenges with Edu and Marinakis that he might potentially leave due to some disagreements over some players and stuff like that. So, do you think that all those of the few turmoils will come and affect their play, or can they also challenge for the Champions League again this season?
Well, I think when teams like Forest challenge for Champions League, I don't think they have enough juice to sustain it. You understand? I don't see them. Even Newcastle have been a bit more stable than Forest in the past recent years. I think Newcastle made the Champions League, I think 3 years ago or 2 years ago, if I'm very correct.
True, true.
Newcastle are more stable and they don't make it year after year. You understand? You see, when teams like this just come, apart from the regulars like City, Arsenal, Liverpool, the regulars that make the Champions League, when a surprise team comes into the mix, most likely they don't do it the next year because one thing I have noticed is that when they make that Champions League qualification, they were not playing in Europe. Maybe they just play
Yeah,
one game per week.
weekends before, true.
Yes, they play one game per week and they just get to that position. They make the Champions League and it's especially this new format when you have to play 8 games. It's a
Yeah.
lot for these clubs to handle. Then you will just notice that their domestic competitions they will start to struggle the next year and they would not make it again. For you to make that Champions League spot back to back years and you are not one of the so-called big names, you understand? It is very, very
Mm-hmm.
uneasy for you. You
Yeah.
understand? So you see Forest now, I'm not really surprised about this, especially West Ham. Looking at when I was trying to look at the fixtures for this week, I saw that the Forest game looked so, the West Ham away looked so good on paper for Forest. I felt like, okay, West Ham are
Yeah,
so
they're going to
poor,
improve.
Forest are solid and all that and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, I told myself something. West Ham would not continue to lose by heavy margins. That was what I told myself. I said it would not continue for long. Yes, they would lose here and there. They are not a top side that would go on the 15 games run or something. But I just feel like Graham Potter would change something. He would,
Mm.
because we know this guy. We knew him from
Brighton.
Brighton. Yes, and this was the same gaffer that was there towards the end of last season. We saw how good West Ham looked. So maybe they just started the season slow. Okay, let me give you an example. If this was about game week 15, 16, and they lost in game week 15, they lost in game week 16. We would not really look at it that, oh, Potter's job is under threat. We would not look at, okay, West Ham are in trouble. But because when you start the season with two L's, not just basic L's, big
Large
L's,
one.
you,
Yeah.
you understand? Everybody look at you like, okay, maybe you are the team to target, maybe you are the team. Now, they asked, I think I saw the preview of that game. Nuno was asked the question that, okay, is this the best time to play West Ham because they are not in form? And he answered very intelligently. He said that it might even be the worst time to play them. They have lost by heavy margins. They would not want to lose again. Something
Yeah.
like that. So that was exactly what happened. If you told anybody that West Ham would beat Forest, you will say, okay, it's possible, it's football. But if you tell anybody they would beat them by 3 goals, you will just laugh it off that, nah, it's not going to happen. But you see, this is the Premier League. A lot would still happen this way. Like I said, it's just early days. We are still going to see a lot of surprises.
Okay, so let's look
Yeah.
at the ongoing fixture that has actually been concluded. So as at when we started the stream, Aston Villa was playing Crystal Palace, and the game has ended 3-0 to Crystal Palace away. We go from Mateta, Sa, and Guehi. So I'll ask you this question, Doye. What's going on with Unai Emery's team?
Well, you see, Aston Villa, they're a funny team. I really don't know what's going on with Villa. The last game they played, I can't remember who it was. I think
Brentford.
he started he started with four, almost like four central sort of CMs, because I know Tillemans played. Is it Kamara? What's his name? He had like four of them in the midfield, and I'm like, what are you doing? Where is the width? Throughout your preseason, Malen played wide, and Malen played very well throughout preseason. The season
Yeah, and he
starts,
moved up front.
you suddenly
Yeah.
drop Malen. It's now affecting also what they call him
Watkins.
Oli Watkins. His form also dropped. So when you look at Aston Villa, they're just the team that right now, if Watkins isn't firing, they can't really do anything because they don't have that their attacking quality is suspect. So
Yeah.
again, and I always say this thing. Sometimes people don't understand that some of the best defense is a very good attack. If you attack very well, positionally, you're putting the other team on the back foot. The other team, they're playing closer to their goal. They are far away from your post. It helps you. It releases the pressure on your own defenders and things like that. But with Villa right now, they are just not a very good team attacking wise, which
Yeah.
is now going to increase the pressure on their defense. I just saw it, and I'm just I don't know what's going on with Villa. They've also, I think, the whole PSR issue, they've
Mm-hmm.
not really signed. Last season they took advantage of, Asensio came in and gave them a lift.
Loans.
Rashford
Mm.
came in.
Rashford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those loan deals, they came in and they gave them a real lift. So I'm actually surprised because for me now, if you don't have the money, you should be looking at somebody like maybe Jadon Sancho. Okay, can he come and he's going to be better than what we have outright. So
Yeah.
can we get
They
just
have good
at least,
wings as well.
yes, look to do something. But right now, they're a big club, but the whole PSR stuff has them acting, unfortunately, like a smaller team with respect to their recruitment. So it's going to be a big problem for Aston Villa. They don't have outside Yuri Tillemans. This what's the name of this other Senegalese guy that they brought from Everton, the centre midfield player. I can't remember his
Nana.
name right now. Onana, I don't like him in centre midfield. I feel like he's an average. Like he's not a very good player. So they
Mm.
have a lot of these kind of players that look once Watkins doesn't do it. Even last season, it took sort of like a renaissance from what's his name, Yuri Tillemans, to
Yeah.
give them creativity. You have John McGinn playing out wide in 2025.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous at this point, for Villa, when you look at the team that they have and everything, between you and I'm going to activate my wild card to get Watkins out of my team. He's done enough
Yeah. Yeah.
damage for now.
And it's even
So
reduced
it's
to
it,
8.9 too. Yeah, I
it's
agree with
it's
you.
terrible.
It's terrible, man. So, Last Bello, thanks for being on the chat today. It seems like it was a solid take from you and the group when we were speaking about the last play. So the quick question for you, Samdi. Crystal Palace, Eze has gone. They signed Jeremy Pino. Oliver Glasner has a very, very good setup in that club. How far do you think they can go this season? Can they make
You know,
Europe?
the funniest thing about this Palace team is that they keep surprising me. You understand? Because most times I look at them like before every game week, I always preview all games, maybe due to fantasy that will play and all that. So
Yeah.
when I was looking at this Palace particular fixture, I felt like they would struggle. You understand? In my mind, I felt like okay, they are traveling from was in Norway in Europe,
Yeah,
and
Frederickson, yes.
yeah, fatigue. They travel to Norway, lesser time to prepare. They are traveling again to Villa Park and all that. Villa have not scored a goal this season, if I'm very correct. They are playing
Mm-hmm.
at home and all that and all that. So I was feeling like okay, I think Palace will struggle. You understand? As a matter of fact, I did not write them off completely, but I felt like Villa would get maybe their first win of the season. But every time I look at Palace,
Thanks,
they
Laz.
just surprise me. You understand? You see, when there's a proper coach in a team, you would always see the footprints. That I think we said something similar to one club now. I think this Semenyo club. We said something similar
Bournemouth.
to it. Bournemouth, exactly. So when a coach implements his ideas and that like there's a print of how it's just like Pep Guardiola. When you see him in Bayern, you see him in Barca, you see, there's just you will just see that okay, this team functions regardless of the individuals. The personnel in Barcelona is not what he had in Bayern, it's not what he had in and at Manchester City. Although we can say okay, he coached top clubs, but when you look at how they play, how functional they are. When you look at the beautiful football and all that, you would know that okay, you can see the signs of coaching in this team. You understand? So that is what I see with Palace. When I looked at Palace, I was thinking of Mateta, and I felt like Mateta could struggle because no easy. You understand? I felt no easy, but I checked the result now. They scored three. I'm still struggling to understand how it happened. You understand? How did they score three? Clean sheet, everything. I thought they would be tired. I thought it was going to be very, very difficult for them. So now I don't know if they are going to lose Gueye by this time in maybe less than 24 hours now, the window will shut. So I'm still
Mm-hmm.
looking at them again that if they lose Gueye, they would struggle. But I've seen one or two mini links with Akonji, Manchester City's Akonji, or maybe they are trying to get in a defender. Maybe that is Gueye's replacement. I don't know. But they would do well. I don't maybe they would not make Champions League. I don't think they would not make Champions League. I don't think they are good enough. But I still think they can make since there's conference now. What scenario I think they would not finish lower than eighth position if they keep doing well like this.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Last Bello,
Mm.
thanks for the shout out. 6 people in the chat. Let's get it to 10. We are about to get to 100 subscribers soon on the channel. Thank you so much. So, I was just thinking about my fantasy team. If you can look at this, right? I had Senesi and Richards on my bench because I thought they
Wow.
were going to concede. And I played Van der Ven and Cash, and they both conceded. That's just fantasy for you, man. So let's
Yeah.
go to surprise of the week. My own surprise of the week was Bournemouth stunning Tottenham in their own home ground. Ariola, Anthony and Raola did so well as a manager for that team. So I would ask you, Doye, among the games that were played, what is the surprise of the week?
Oof. I would say for me personally, it was I'll put it at Man City against what they call them against Brighton,
Brighton. Why?
especially yeah, especially with City scoring first. So it was the way the game turned. With Man City, I've always had this belief that they can be got at. There's
Hmm.
something Pep does where I don't know why, but Pep may be the only manager in world football that constantly rotates his best centre back. So
Yeah.
even when they are all fit, some games he plays Diaz, then he takes out Diaz, then he puts in Akonji, then he puts in Aki, and then it's just when you look at most teams, like Liverpool will play 38 games, Van Dijk is going to play every game
Every game, yes.
unless he's going to
Consistency.
play every game. Who he plays with now can be rotated, but he's always going to be there. I
Yeah. It's a
remember
good call.
two, or was it 2 seasons ago or so, when City and Arsenal were in a very close title race,
Yeah.
and Diaz came back from injury, and immediately he came back into the City lineup. Pep did rotate him again, and City went on a very, very good run
Yeah.
of victories. So he does that in a lot. So why this game surprised me actually was that you know City looked clueless sort of in the second half. When Brighton started gaining momentum, City struggled for ideas. They lost the ball easily. Sometimes you see City, they'll still hit the press, they'll hit the ball long. It will show Haaland one of his weaknesses, you understand, of holding onto the ball and things like that. They just kept on coming. And before they scored the winning goal, the City keeper Trafford made a fantastic save.
Yeah.
A fantastic save. And immediately he made the save, he hadn't even like mentally celebrated his save. He was picking the ball out of his net because just they went forward and lost it
Total
again.
awareness.
And, and, and
Yes.
and that's one thing that City usually were very, very good at. City in back then, they were very good at their transition defending. When City lost the ball, when they were at their best, they got the ball back quickly. Teams struggled. Again, I've always said this thing that Ederson has not been a very good goalkeeper. He was not a good goalkeeper back then. But because of how quickly they got the ball back, teams could not really you didn't really have a lot of good chances per se against City. But last
True.
season, it started where their transition defending was very poor. And if your transition defending is poor, if you have players that can keep a hold of the ball, then it takes away the pressure because you don't have to defend running back towards your goal a lot. But when you
Mhm.
now have players now that lose the ball in some kind of tight spaces and things like that, because that's what City were very good at, playing the ball in tight spaces. David Silva, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, they were very comfortable. They rarely lost the ball. But now, your Dokus and all those other guys, once they lose the ball, teams turn and they are running. Towards the end of the game, I felt like Pep should have taken off Rodri because he looked clearly he didn't have legs
Coming back
again
from injury.
towards the end. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he played. I think he played the 90 minutes. So when I watched the way City lost that game, a lot of it was was reminding me of last season. Now they may
Mm.
not be as bad as last season or go on the run that they went on last season, but honestly speaking, I saw the game and personally I revised my EPL prediction.
Mm.
I have Chelsea in front of City. Like City may, if they don't get that, if they don't sort out their transition dependent and the creativity in the team, City are going to struggle. So that was just why for me it was like the biggest surprise. You're leading 1-0. You should ideally City sees out the game from there, but
Yeah, I
that was not the
agree.
case.
Okay, so Sunday, what about you? What is your surprise of the week?
Well, my surprise of the week, I'm not surprised City lost. My surprise of the week was the West Ham scoreline. You
Hmm.
understand? I did not expect West Ham to beat Forest 3-0 at home. That was actually my surprise. I was not surprised with Tottenham result. Are you people overrating Tottenham? Spurs are Spurs now. Is it because they beat City? No, for real now, let's be honest. Spurs are Spurs. They remain Spurs now. You
Yeah.
understand? So is it because they won Burnley 3-0 and they beat New City at home that they've always done that? Spurs would they are not the team that would win. This is the Premier League. Let's not forget now. Have you forgotten when when West Ham would beat Arsenal at the Emirates? Have we
Mm-hmm.
forgotten things like that? So it is the Premier League. So are you really surprised that Bournemouth would beat Tottenham? We are going to see many of that now. Arsenal will still lose a game that is similar. Trust me. It might not be at the Emirates, it might be away. Liverpool will still lose something similar too. You
Yeah.
understand? So when it is Tottenham, it should not surprise anyone. It shouldn't. Those are not
Okay.
top boys.
So let's go to injury watch. Right now, there were some new injuries in Game Week 3. Liam Delap looked like the most severe, and there was Matthias Cunha, there was Mount, there was Smith, Botman, Goodmanson, and Konate. So, Doye, which of these injuries here do you think will affect their team the most?
Uh, I don't think the Konate injury is going to be. Hopefully, I don't think it's going to be as severe. But I think if that is severe and Liverpool don't bring in Gahey, then I think that is a problem. Because with Liverpool, look, Van Dijk does a lot of hand holding in the back. I always tell people this thing, I say it a lot of time. People feel like, oh, you're just propping up Van Dijk. I say, look, Joel Matip was in the Liverpool team with Dejan Lovren when they were awful.
Yeah.
They get Van Dijk, and suddenly you have people say, "Oh, Joel Matip is the main. He does all the dirty things in the back line," and I'm laughing. Then Matip gets injured. Joe Gomez comes in, and people are like, "Oh, Joe Gomez does not. He leaves. Konate comes in." So Van Dijk does a lot of hand holding. But this is where the problem is. If they don't get in the centre back, and Konate is out for a long period of time, the person that comes in is Joe Gomez.
Hmm.
He's a step down from Konate, obviously one. But apart from that, Joe Gomez is somebody that may not even last 3 weeks.
Yeah, you also get
If Joe
injured a lot.
Gomez, yes, if Joe Gomez gets injured, you are now looking at bringing in Leone from the Serie A, an 18-year-old defender.
Yeah, that
And one
young
thing
boy.
and one thing I always say is that don't go to Serie A to sign central defenders. Don't go to Syria to sign strikers, especially if the players are Italians. Because this Leone, the kind of football he's been used to growing up from their academy all through to the senior team, if you put him in the Premier League, it's something entirely different. I've seen
Hmm.
Marco Materazzi came to Everton and struggled. Italian defenders normally don't do well. Calafiori is looking like he may be an exception because he's actually playing really well. But Arsenal gives him a lot of protection too. The way Arsenal plays with the whole Rice and Zubimendi, and Rice is usually on that left side, so Rice can
Yeah.
always give protection. Arsenal has a very solid team. But you now bring in Leone in a team that you're trying to win the league. Like I said, the Premier League this season, I've been calling this whole summer a nuclear arms race because everybody that can win the Premier League did what they felt they needed to do to win the Premier League. Chelsea
True.
are happy with their signings. Arsenal are happy with their signings. City, we're, we're happy with their signings. I don't know about now. Liverpool, we're ecstatic too with their signings, even though some issues are coming up. But like I said, Konate can be, but if Liverpool gets gay, he did. Look, I don't really have, but that
What do
is
you
the
mean?
one because of it has the potential to impact a title race. Last season, Liverpool were very lucky. That was
Yeah.
Konate's fittest season in like the last 5 or 6 years, and he
True.
still got a month plus off, and that was
Yeah.
his fittest season. So I just feel like that is the one that could really, really impact the title race.
Okay.
So for
So
me, that's
thank
it.
you. Thank you so much, Doye. Which injury will impact the team the most? And the guru.
Yeah.
So looking at the injuries we have right now on the list, Doye has spoken about Konate. Is there any other player that strikes out for you that if he gets out of the team for a long while, it could impact the team? I'm thinking of Matheus Cunha. What's your thought on that?
Well, I think if Almorin wants to continue playing this is very monotonous system that doesn't even seem to thrive, I think it would affect them. But if Almorin wants to use his head and try to switch things up, I think they will cope without Cunha. I think Bruno Fernandes is one of the best players in the league, and you are playing him as a almost a DM. Fernandes is now looking like Casedo. You understand? He's looking like N'Golo Kante. He's not made for that. You understand? Bruno closer to the goal would give you more goals, would give you more assists. You understand? So if he maybe throughout this break, maybe reflects on things and tries to switch things up, Bruno would do well. He would move forward and all that. But maybe I don't know. I think he's this kind of manager that just wants to continue playing what he believes in, even if it is not the best for the quality he has. So in Cunha's absence, I think Mount would play there, Sesko would play up front. I don't know, but the list so far is I think Konate is still looking like the one that, especially if they don't get Gui, we don't know how long he would be out for. If Konate is injured, I think Liverpool would be in a bit of trouble.
Okay. So we'll just really touch on the best players of the week, and I have three on this list. So you just tell me two qualities of this player that you like, and we'll go to the next one. I'll start with you, Doye. Jack Grealish.
With Grealish for me, he's a kind of like a maverick kind of player. You know, I always say this about this kind of players. He's the kind of player that because of how much he likes to hold on to the ball, he was the kind of was at City, which he did. But when you go to an Everton, you're the best player. They are looking to you for inspiration, so they will give you the ball. So Grealish is that kind of player. He accepts that kind of responsibility of give me the ball, I'll try and make something happen. And if something does not happen and I fail, they can give him the ball again. That's his quality, drawing people. So the way he plays, he makes almost like he makes it easier if he's playing at his best for his teammates because he can suck one or two players towards him. What that
Mm-hmm.
does is it now frees up the other guys. It free up Hall, it will free up Ndiaye and the other guys. Then then when he releases it, they will have a numbers advantage. So those kind of players, are very, 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 very good. So for a team like Everton, it's like it's a very good signing for them. If I remember how ecstatic Everton were when they signed James Rodriguez back then, they rarely have those kind of players. The Everton really has those kind of players. They are more of
Yes,
the
Nigerian
it's more of like all this very hard workers and
industrious
grit and
player.
grind
Yes.
players. Yeah. So with somebody like Grealish, if they let him, and obviously it's like they are letting him play well. Even though I feel like apart from the cross for Ndiaye, I saw the other assist. It was just the basic pass and the Gardner had a lot to do and he scored. Oh, Grealish has to assist. So I don't really like looking at all those the numbers but I'm just going off of what I liked from him when he was at Villa.
Okay.
So that's it for me with Grealish.
Awesome. So Sam the Guru, what about Kyrian Dewsbury Hall? Has he gotten like a fresh lease of life, leaving Chelsea to go to Everton? Because when he was at Leicester City, that season they got relegated, we could see the quality in him. But coming to Chelsea, even with his former manager Enzo Maresca, he never really had the opportunity to do it. Tried playing in the conference. So what do you think of Dewsbury Hall?
Well, I think the best places for average players to thrive is when they go to these mid clubs. That is what I think. That was why last season I think I was so harsh on Sterling because if you go to Chelsea, you are a Chelsea footballer, and with the caliber of players present at Chelsea, and you are a flop, then you are very, very bad. You should not go anywhere. I still struggle to date to understand why Arsenal signed Raheem Sterling. You understand? Because when
Mm.
you play in these clubs, when you play in a club that is not fighting for the title, you play in a club that their realistic expectation is just try to survive, okay, try to maybe top 15, top 12, top 13. You understand? And you struggle in such clubs. You understand? It is very, very bad. Now, this Hall, although I did not see much of him in Chelsea, but from what I have seen so far with Everton, I think he would do all right for Everton level. You understand? I don't think he's a world beater. He's not anywhere close. But for Everton level, I think he would continue to do well. Moyes is doing well. I think Moyes always have spells. Like he would go through a spell, do very well, considering the club he manages, and then sometimes he would just get bad and is under serious pressure. You understand? And later he
Yeah.
would adjust again. He would go well again, like we've seen in his previous clubs before he came back to Everton. Now he spelled at Everton. Now it's going very well. The season has started. I think he's doing well. Don't be surprised if you see Everton struggle. Maybe you start hearing things that Moyes is struggling. I wouldn't be surprised because that's a his pattern. Then he would pick up
Yeah.
again later.
Yeah.
So that
I
is just
agree.
what I think is
I
this
agree.
all.
So the last player we will talk about before we go to the next session is Enzo Fernandez. Do you think we should have left the penalty for Jean Pedro, do you?
No, I don't. Again, with all this club, there's a hierarchy. The coach already, so they'll tell you before they go onto the pitch, they know who the penalty taker is, the first, the second, and the third. And if the
Mm-hmm.
second is not there, they know who the third person is. So obviously, he, João Pedro didn't even agitate for the penalty. You know, so being that he is the designated penalty taker, he might as well, like, you have to take the penalty. I remember DJ Drogba going for golden boot and Frank Lampard taking the penalty over Drogba, and
Mm.
it almost caused an issue. And Lampard is the penalty taker. That is just how he was the penalty taker. So again, unless Enzo Maresca says otherwise to the Chelsea players, I think that your penalty taker should always, or more, and again, don't forget when that was and miss. You can't get who the coach has said is the second penalty taker. If Jean-Pedro Cameroon, you will not be telling me that, or you'll not be telling the coach that I felt like he's a better penalty taker than I am. No, you back yourself as a
Yeah, true.
top as a top footballer to take that penalty. And by all means, he was the second to Palmer, so he rightly he had to take the penalty, and he scored.
Okay, that makes sense. So looking at the Premier League table after game week 3, honestly, this was before the Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa game. Wolves are currently in the bottom with 0 points from 3 games. Obviously, Villa will come further down due to their poor start to the campaign with Newcastle, West Ham. A couple of things I would not expect. Man City in 12th, that's quite strange. Then in the top half, obviously, Liverpool's win against Arsenal put them at the top. Arsenal, if they had drawn that game, they are going to international break on top. But obviously, they are still in the running. We have Chelsea with 7 points and Tottenham. So finally, let's talk about some predictions for game week 4. So I'll call a fixture and then you give me your scoreline, Samdeguru and Doye. So let's start. Samdeguru, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest.
I think Arsenal win that 2-0.
Doye,
Oh, I think Arsenal wins that 1-0.
Bournemouth, Brighton, Sunday.
Bournemouth Brighton. Maybe 2-2 draw. I think they
Doye,
both scored. 2-2 draw.
okay.
Yeah,
Doye,
I'll go 1-1.
Okay. Crystal Palace, Sunderland, Sam Deguru.
3-0 Palace win. I'm not underrating them anymore.
Doye.
Yeah, Palace should win that one. 3-0. Yeah.
Okay. Everton, Aston Villa, Sam Deguru.
I think Villa would win this 1-2. Everton 1, Villa 2.
Doye.
Everton Villa. I think Everton nicks this 1-0.
Okay. Fulham, Leeds, Sam Deguru.
Fulham Leeds 1-1.
Doye.
Fulham 2-1.
Newcastle, Wolves, Sam Deguru.
4-0 Newcastle win.
Oh, wow. Doye.
Newcastle should win. But I'll say 2-0.
West Ham, Spurs, Sunday.
This is tricky. I think it will be a draw. 1-1.
Doye.
West Ham Spurs. I'll still give Spurs the edge. 2-1.
Brentford, Chelsea, Sam Deguru.
1-3. Brentford 1, Chelsea 3.
Doye.
Chelsea 2-0.
Burnley, Liverpool, Sam Deguru.
I think that ends 0-2. Liverpool 2, Burnley 0.
Doye.
I think Liverpool score 4-0.
Manchester City versus Manchester United, Sam Deguru.
3-0 Man City.
Doye.
City United. I think City would win, but I'd say 2-1.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of the stream. Just want to say a big thank you to my panelists, Uche Moore, Hudafe, and of course, Sam Deguru and Doye. You guys made your debuts today, and I'm sure you guys know that you did very well. I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys in the channel in the future. We're going to take a break. The international fixture is coming up, and we'll be back again in Gameweek 4 to do this again. So, parting words, starting with you, Sam Deguru.
Well, it's the break is needed after 2 back-to-back L's. I think I need a break more than anyone. So I just want to wait. Hopefully my injured players come back like Gaviol, Foden, and I think the only positive I saw in today's game was that Rodri played 90 minutes. So hopefully, I think he's playing for Spain. So hopefully, he comes back unscratched and we pick things up. We know we can still do it. Maybe we are not going to win the league, but it doesn't mean you don't have to win the league to have a good season. You understand? So maybe it's going to be one of those years.
Okay. Doye, your parting words?
Yeah. Looking down on the rest of you from the top of the league. I wish you guys. Yeah. Honestly speaking, I'm basically only worried about Arsenal at this point. If I'm being very, very honest with you, I'm worried only about Arsenal. I think for Liverpool, today's game, it just sort of buttressed the point I had been making. For the past 3 games, that Liverpool defensively, they have the players. If you look at it, it's just a matter of finding the right balance in midfield. Florian Wirtz looked better. He struggled in the first half, looked better in the second half, which gave us a room for encouragement. And as you can see, 3 games into the season, Salah has not been. Liverpool are still doing very well. Hopefully, we add this to the mix, and then good luck to all of you.
Yeah.
Good luck to all of you.
Okay, so thank you so much for being part of this, and for everyone that has been on the chat, Las Bello, Chinedu Major, and the rest. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow all of our Arsenal for more content. Till then, see you guys again. Cheers, man.